Good afternoon and welcome to the midweek session on Markets Today. I'm your host, Mbithe Mwema. It's always a pleasure to be able to talk to you about what is happening in the financial markets in Kenya. I will start off by giving you an overview of what was happening on the Nairobi Securities Exchange, also a bit of an overview of what is happening to investor sentiment both locally and globally. When we take the break and we come back, we will be talking about money market funds. What should your considerations be? What should you think about based on the news that has actually hit the headlines of late? And what are the key learnings and the way forward when it comes to investing in that segment? I will introduce our host who's joining us in the studio physically in a few minutes. Let's start off with what is happening on the NSE yesterday. The charts are coming up there and you have an outline of the indices. The NSE All Share was down 0.61 percentage points to 139.72. A bit of slight weakness on Safaricom, which is the core share that actually anchors all these indices. It closed down at 29.5 shillings. We've seen it trade range bound today. NSE 20 share, similar trajectory, down 10 percentage points to 1,842 points. Again, similar trajectory to the NSE 25 share, which is 3,220.41 points. Let's take a look at what was happening to the turnover for the day. We have been tracking turnover from the beginning of September, and you have an outlook of what has been happening in the month of October. As expected, October was a quiet month. The close of the quarter happened on 30th of September. We saw a bit of a volume from the foreign investors as the quarter was coming to a close. The quarter has come to a close. We're not expecting to see much impetus when it comes to turnover. And you can see the volumes there are actually telling in terms of what we have seen. Monday was a pretty slow day, as expected, 74 million. Yesterday, it picked up 210 million. Foreign investors were more or less 75% of both sides of the trade, 75% selling, 75% of the purchases. Key trades here by turnover, Safaricom at 29.5, and we saw a good chunk go through BAT. 22,600 shares were traded at a price of 360 shillings per share. Let's take a look at who the top gainers were and also who the volume movers were on the NSE. Once I take you through this, I will be able to give you the updates in terms of the corporate news that has come through the pipeline today, specifically having an impact on British America Tobacco. Top gainers, Samia Africa, small stocks there, up 9.8 percentage points to 381 shillings per share. Sasini was also up 7.95 percentage points. Same case for Home Africa, Eagles and Flametree. The small caps were dominating activity in terms of price performance. Let's take a look at who the top losers were for the day. Top movers by volume, Safaricom was the top mover, 5 million shares traded at the average price of 29.5 shillings per share. CIC Insurance Group, we have been seeing a slight uptick on price there. Volume yesterday, 445,400 shares traded in this stock. Sasini was also a volume mover for the day. Kenya Power and Kengen were also volume movers at 281,000 and 278,000 respectively. Let's take a look at who the top losers were when it comes to price performance. Stanley Fahari I-Rate, we have been talking a lot about this particular counter. It dropped down 7 percentage points to 5 shillings. There's no liquidity that's supporting this stock and it is coming off. We keep saying as it comes off at some point, if you are looking at the real estate opportunity, there could be an opportunity for you to make some good returns here. But the point of caution is liquidity because you don't want to get caught up in an investment where you cannot exit at the time you want to exit. TPS Serena down 7 percentage points to 13.95. Stanbic Holdings down 6 percentage points to 80.25. It was up last week, oscillating up and down over the weeks. Jubilee Holdings has actually lost ground, minus 6 percentage points to 274. This company last week did mention that Alliance was looking to buy a percentage of its business, 12.3% to be precise. Alliance wants to buy the general insurance business arm of Jubilee Holdings, an amount of 12.3, and they are willing to pay 1.95 times for this particular part of the business. In other words, 274 based on this strike price by Alliance implies that the price could possibly be double. We haven't seen any activity in terms of volume this week. However, last week, this stock was up 32% in just 3 trading sessions. So something to bear in mind and a point of caution for any investors who are looking at this stock. I think as it goes lower in price, it's a matter of understanding what is the investor sentiment. Does the market actually appreciate the prices being paid by Alliance? And if so, then there could be an upside on this stock. Over the last 1 year, Jubilee Holdings has traded up to a price of 415 shillings per share. Of course, that was before COVID, but it's not something that's insurmountable. 360 has been a price point that we have seen this particular counter reach. East African Cables, another small cap, down 2.6 percentage points to 1.5 shillings per share. Nothing much has happened here for this particular week. Now, looking at the corporate news, what has come through our pod earlier over the day? First thing, Safaricom, we have the numbers up for Fuliza as a product. Over the COVID period, people have been borrowing extensively just to be able to make ends meet. We've seen the numbers that are coming through Fuliza quadruple from a similar period last year. Most people are borrowing, and this short-term borrowing opportunity is actually enhancing the revenue scale for Safaricom. The market has not quite reacted to this news, though before we came to trade, we did see it hit slightly above 30 shillings, 30 shillings point 2, 30.5 shillings per share over the day. The other key news that has come out on the day is BAT, that's British America Tobacco. BAT has been in the country for decades and some, and it is in the business of selling cigarettes. 2 years ago, this company introduced Lift, which is akin to sort of gum that you chew so that you're not necessarily smoking the cigarette and having the adverse effects that come with that, but instead you are still getting something akin to a nicotine patch, only that it's a chewable nicotine patch. This particular product is known as Lyft, that's L-Y-F-T. You've probably seen it. It's small little packs that you find mostly in pharmacies or places that tend to sell, convenience stores or such as similar shops. So it's not widely spread in terms of distribution. Today, the Ministry of Health, the Cabinet Secretary, Mr. Kagwe, has actually said that the think through for this particular product is not aligned to the government's position. This is a product that has been in the market for 2 years, has gotten the regulatory approvals, and was just about to break ground in terms of setting up a factory for the production of this product that it had already tested the market for, and there is a demand for it. This particular decision certainly puts a bumper into the program and the plan for this particular company. We will be looking out for the exact wording from the Ministry of Health, and we will be in a position to share that with you for now. It certainly is a point of caution to think about if you are trading on BAT as a stock, because at this point in time, the market trajectory was the hope that this new plant and this new product will be able to support earnings growth as well as revenue growth into the medium term and over into the long term. We will do a bit more digging just to understand what possible impact this has and whether it's material. If it's material, then you want to be cautious. If it's a stay between the government and this company and it's something that can be solved, you might want to look at it and see if there's any price weakness that could provide an opportunity for you to buy for the long term. Enough about the markets. Let's take a look at what happens in other investment classes in Kenya. Money market funds are a good mainstay for this economy. We do see people preferring to put their money with money market funds and earning on average a return of about 8.5%. That's the average return that was recorded by all the money market funds as at the end of last week. 8.5% is the average. Some will give you 10, 11%. Some will give you something below that. But the entry point and the attractiveness of money market funds is the fact that you need very little money to get in, and it's almost nearly very easy for you to get out. So you put in 1,000, put in 3,000, put in 5,000. If you need your money, you can get it out. It has been a form of investing where people prefer to put their money there as opposed to savings accounts, which have been giving a return of about 4%, and fixed deposit accounts, which have been giving a return of 6.75%. However, in the last 2 weeks, we have seen some information come through into the media where one of the asset managers, Saiton Asset Management, has actually been taken to court by the Capital Markets Authority. That's the regulator for investments in Kenya. The mainstay of this particular case is the fact that some investors put money into the high-yielding fund that's offered by Cyton, and they haven't been able to get their money back, and they are looking for a point of recourse. The Capital Markets Authority, on their behalf, has taken this asset manager into the court system, and we are awaiting to see what could happen. Going to the court is good, but it does take you a bit of time if you are to get any headway in terms of what next. Today, we want to just understand, what is it when you are looking into putting your money with a money market manager? What should be your first consideration? And are there some lessons to glean from this scenario with Cyton so that you can make better investment decisions going forward? In studio, we are joined by Mr. George Monks, who will be able to speak to us about this. We take a short break. When we come back, I will give you a brief bio of who George Monks is, and we can delve into this conversation. As always, our SMS line, 20146. Where are you watching us from? Does this conversation of Cyton or money market managers make you smile? Does it probably cause a bit of pain in your heart? If it does, tell us, what is your money market story? We would like to hear. We would like to also be able to address your questions. If you're not able to come through to us through the SMS line, my name is Mbithe Mwema. I am on Twitter, I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram. Also, Metropole TV on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Talk to us. Get your phone out. Let us know what is going on, what makes you happy about this space, what are you unhappy about, what would you like to see changed. We will be covering this and more once we come back from the break. See you then.